the Angry Birds fandom has been apparently unusually ruffled. They've been like pissed off at Rovio for a long time, and I thought it was kind of interesting, so I'm gonna try to explain it to the best of my understanding. So like I said, the second movie didn't do that great for them, but also they've been sort of struggling just forever, kind of, because like I said, Angry Birds is an old franchise, so it kind of got more, and I could be wrong about this, about the timing, but I think from what I understand, they popped off before free-to-play was really the norm in the App Store and mobile gaming and everything. Angry Birds was kind of already popping when free-to-play was when starting to take off, so they had to sort of transition from being this 99-cent iPhone game, becoming a whole ecosystem that you can spend money on forever and capture these big fat whales like that one guy in the movie that I don't even know what that movie's about, but I'm just assuming that. Anyhow, I'm Big Fat Ben Stiller and Angry Birds wants to get me, but they simply can't because I'm too slippery and people just do not care much about Angry Birds anymore. If they fell off, dude, what can you do? Second movie, I mean, it wasn't like insanely worse than the first movie. I mean, the bird does dab in the first like 5 seconds of it, which turned me off the whole time, and I never recovered. 0 out of 10. But it wasn't that bad, aside from that and everything. They've kind of just been trying to sort of cater to both sides, where people, like, they'll make new games that are free to play, of course, and adapt to the new payment models, and everything going forward for the longest time has been free to play. But they have their old games that people have been like sort of mad at them for as they sort of phase it out and add more free to play stuff. And I guess from what I understand, the original Angry Birds, the paid version that everybody probably has, God knows how many phones are in those landfills that I talked about earlier that have Angry Birds installed on them, just exponentially more plastic that has been infected by the Angry Birds franchise than we could ever fathom. But they've been sort of trying to please them, the old people, by keeping that game alive or whatever for their, you know, their core audience, while also trying to push forward and get with the times with their new games. I guess, and I don't know when this happened, at some point I noticed that the paid App Store version of Angry Birds had like some weird name. It was called like AB Classics or something. Like, it just didn't have Angry Birds anywhere in the title. I'm like, that's kind of weird. And then they changed it again, which is kind of weird. I mean, Rovio does this sometimes where they'll change the names of their games. That's not really that unusual or anything. Like, I've just noticed it over the years when I'm making my videos. I'm like, oh, that used to be Angry Birds Stella. Now it's Angry Birds Pop or something. Same game, just different name, and kind of changes the icon and what have you. But they changed it to like AB Classic, and then they renamed it again to like Red's First Flight. And the only reason you can tell it's an Angry Birds game is because of the icon. It kind of makes it seem like a bootleg because that it's the App Store. I mean, there's a bunch of bootlegs in the top charts all the time. So kind of weird, but apparently the reasoning for this, and I found that there was a thread on Reddit about this, which I've since lost the link to. I apologize to nobody for anything. But basically what they were explaining was that they changed the name of this game because they actually lose money having the paid version available, because you paying the 99 cents or $2 or however much it is to play Red's First Flight, Angry Birds Classic, etc., like that $2 or whatever, they lose money on that, as opposed to getting you to download Angry Birds 2 for free and putting you in that free-to-play ecosystem, I guess, on average, is how I understand it, which is like super funny and weird. Like, you can't even, at that point, it's just like, dog, just pull the plug. But that's my opinion. I guess the other people disagree. Man, I can't even call my child Angry Birds anymore because Angry Birds is Angry Birds, and I don't even know what I'm saying. But it's a strategy that I guess works. It's a little cynical, I guess. Dang, like, you can't even just use the name. Perhaps you're a little lost in the bird sauce if you can't even use the name of your franchise anymore, because I don't know. I honestly just think it's a weird little tidbit that I thought I would share. But if you've ever noticed that Angry Birds was called something weird in the App Store and didn't know if it was the real game or not, this could be why. Corporate greed, sure, but is it a big deal? Not really. When the Angry Birds copyright expires in 70 years, I hope I'm still around to make the horror movie about it. I will shoot you in the eye with a slingshot, Piglet. I have no idea what I'm saying. Thank you guys for freaking listening to the lonniedos Vibecast. Like I said, you could freaking get this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or the videos on YouTube if you want to watch me saying the words. Thank you guys for watching. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Helps me out a lot. I always appreciate it, dude. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.